Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. Anyway, sorry it was a bit short notice with this live. I was going to do a live today, Sunday. I'm in Spain. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Spain, Europe. It is Sunday. It is just gone midday, 12 o'clock. And I was umming and ahhing about whether to do a live. I was sort of, I wanted to. I always want to chat to you guys, always, and it always makes me feel good. So that's why I've ended up doing a live, because just one of those mornings again this morning, not that bad really. Took number one son to work. And then on the way back, I should have been back so much quicker than I was. The usual sort of, there's a lot of nice things about living in Spain, but one of the worst things is when they cut off roads for fiestas, or for quite often for bicycle rides or motorbike rides or runs, community things that are going on, which is fine. They cut off the roads so that it's safe for the runners or the cyclists or whatever, but they don't give you any diversion. This is what it happens quite a lot in my little pueblo, my little town where I live. But this is a bigger town that I was passing through. I dropped my son off at work. It's a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. I should have took a video actually. The sea looks beautiful. People are out walking, swimming in the sea, because he works near the beach. And I took the dogs for a little wander round in this like a little fishing port. Oh, it was all beautiful, and I was all relaxed. And then I got back in the car, set off on my journey back home. Sorry, this is going to be a bit of a waffle just to start with. If you're new to my channel, on my lives, I do waffle in the beginning. I will cut this video down later and upload it without any waffle. But as far as the live stream's concerned, there's always a lot of waffle. Just to let you know that. So I set off on my way home. Boom, come up to, like where I'm supposed to turn off to go off, and on the way home, just all cut off. It's cut off. There's cars just queuing up. Nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing. There's barriers up. There's loads of officials there in orange jacket, orange waistcoat things, but no diversion. No diversion. In Spain, it's like, well, we're closing off this road. Find your own way. That's how it is. Literally, nobody knew what to do. So unless you, luckily, when it happens in my little town, I know this town. I've lived here, for donkey's years. So I know all the little nooks and crannies, all the little shortcuts, etc. But if you didn't know that, like I didn't at this other place this morning, you haven't got a clue which way to go. So, I'm abiding by the rule of follow the car in front. But of course, the car in front, I don't know where that car, that where they were going. Anyway, so it's just like, no, you can't go this way, big barriers up, but no diversion, no way to tell you how to get to where you're trying to get to, alternative routes. Nah. No, and bearing in mind, this was about 9:30 this morning. So they've had ages to put the diversions up. It's like not as if it was 6 o'clock in the morning. So I started following two cars, and then they parked. They just parked up, so maybe they want to see whatever it is that's going on. They didn't carry on; they just parked up. So I thought, right, what do I do now? So it's follow your nose then. Follow your nose, because I don't know this area. Just literally follow your nose and try and get. So I had to go. Anyway, I got sort of out, if you like, I had to go all the way back to where I'd already dropped my son off half an hour earlier. Go right back there and then start and go a different way. I do know a different way, a longer way. But at least it was avoiding the road, well, no, not roadworks, the diversion. So yeah, an extra half an hour, more petrol, as if petrol's not expensive as it is. I have to do 2 hours driving every day as it is. Oh yeah, go on, add me another 30, 45 minutes onto my journey, cost me another load of petrol. Yeah, why not? God forbid you should actually put a diversion in place. Oh no, just so it's literally find your own way. You can't come up this road, find your own way to where you're going. Just crazy. That is a definite Spanish that I don't know if it happens in your country. I think of it's something that's always happened here in Spain. I mean, when they shut off a place, they really shut it off. When they shut off my little village, you literally sometimes you can't even get to your own house, and it's just like, oh, you just have to wait because just have to wait 2 hours because something's going on here. Do you know what I mean? Something's going on here. You've got to wait. You've got to wait. But not only just like 2 minutes, like could be 2 hours while the cyclists pass through the village. It's just crackers. So anyway, that was the fun and games this morning. And I was just thinking as well, I was so peaceful, and it was such a beautiful day, and so the dogs didn't bark at any other dogs, and it was no bark fests as I was walking around, and it was I was feeling really tranquil. It doesn't last long, does it? It doesn't last long, tranquility. And I was also just thinking, oh, I haven't had to beep anybody yet on this journey because I never get through a half an hour journey without beeping at least 5 people doing stupid things, like walking in the middle of the road, or riding their scooter right in front of you, or cars pulling out right in front of you. You know what it's like. So it wasn't that sort of morning this morning, but then it was so instead it was the diversion, that there was no diversion to tell you which way to go. So yeah, 45-minute extra drive. Yeah, just when petrol's about bloody $100 a litre. Actually, it's not that bad here in Spain. Our Prime Minister, he did lower it because he took the tax off petrol, or lowered the tax. So, but it's still not as cheap as it was before the stupid war. At the beginning of the war, well, before the war, I should say, here in Spain, we were paying at 1.28 euros per litre. It then went up to nearly 2 euros per litre because of the war, because of the orange freak in the White House. And then it's now come down, it's about 170. So it's better than it was, but it's still a lot more than it was if we didn't have a stupid war going on. That's total waste of time, isn't it? Anyway, I won't get talking about that. I'm not going to waffle about that because I'll get really angry. So yeah, so that was my morning, but it's a beautiful day. I'm going to get some sun later, so hope you're all well and enjoying your weekend, and I hope the weather's nice where you are. So let me put my banner up. Just said thank you. So I normally, those of you who don't know my channel, I normally start with thanking everyone for watching, for liking, subscribing. Special thank you to my members. Oh, and don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, on the subscribe button. Those are absolutely free ways you can help my channel. And don't forget to press the notification button so that you get notifications, hopefully, of updates on cases that we cover. Special thank you to my members. I am going to put up, let's see, you can join this channel. Oh, I haven't got a link to join. Anyway, it's somewhere in the. Oh, it's on the banner. It's on the banner. But also, I will put it in the chat. Oh, God. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. That's not unusual for me. You'll learn that about me if you. That's my Ko-fi link that I'm trying to put it in the chat, but not doing very well. Hang on, let me see. There it is. Copy and paste it into the chat. I will put the members one in there as well, just in case anybody wants to become a member. Thank you to those of you who already are. I really appreciate every single person that supports my channel. Thank you so much. That's the member. Sorry, that's the Ko-fi link. Where will I find the members? I should have all this ready, shouldn't I? Not very organised this morning. I'm not very organised a lot of mornings. But this is, I will find it. On my members link, just in case anybody wants to join. Thank you in advance. And as I say, thank you to those of you who are already joined. So yeah, thank you to those of you who send me emails, leave nice comments. Any way you support my channel, thank you so much. Hello there. Oh, I'll just tell you quickly what I'm going to talk about in this video, apart from the waffle, because there'll be a bit more waffle yet. But I'm going to talk about this lady, Lynette Hooker. Now, I haven't spoken about this case, but probably a lot of you know about it because it's been quite prolific on social media, etc., and mainstream media. And this couple, Lynette and Brian, they were in the Bahamas on a boat. And only Brian came back. And Brian says that Lynette fell off the boat. Did she though? Did she fall off or was she pushed? Now, the reason I haven't talked about this case before is I seriously thought this guy would get charged. They were deciding whether to charge him in the Bahamas, for a suspected murder or, for being responsible. And he wasn't. He's been released without charge. And he says he's going to carry on looking for his wife. But he's back in America now. What's he doing today? I wonder. So why is he not in Bahamas looking for his wife? But anyway, we're going to talk about it. Of course, I don't know if it did have anything to do with it. Except, of course, it turns out that he has got a history of domestic abuse with Lynette. So we're going to have a little look at it. We're not going to do a deep dive really on it. I just wanted to talk about it, and then I'm going to follow it and see what else happens. So yeah, hi there, you lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hi to Replay Crew. Thank you for watching. And let's have a look. A few of you in the chat. Haven't caught everybody out. I'm sorry I'm always a bit last minute with lives and things, but I have to see, my life's a bit chaotic, so I just never can be quite sure when I can come on. But anyway, here I am. And thank you to those of you joining the chat. Again, chatting is a way that we can improve the algorithm free of charge. And I know you have to be, sometimes people don't like to go and chat. They don't like to put their head above the parapet. But then other people like to chat to each other. And sometimes I think I'm totally inconsequential, really, because people like to have a little chat between themselves. So hi Lily. Hi Mark. Road roadworks everywhere, Marg, at the moment. Yeah, but this is no, it's not roadworks. It's obviously a planned event that they've got going on. So when they plan their events, why can't they diversion so that people know where they're supposed to go? Yeah, you sound like you're having a similar problem. Oh, all right. Liz' name was your married name. Hi, Admit. Hi, Pam. Now, if people come in later and I miss them, if you say hello and I miss you, don't forget to say hello again. And I always try and get around saying hello to everybody. So yeah, just a little bit more waffle. Something that I've put it on a post, a community post. Something really strange that happened yesterday. Now, funnily enough, I've been watching quite a lot of videos about all sorts of spiritual things, let's say. You know, I feel like I need a spiritual lift at the moment. I think most of us do, don't we? So I was watching actually a video about guardian angels. And I was thinking, oh, no, you know, I've been told before that I had a guardian angel. And then, you know, sometimes you wonder all the people that you lose, you know, do they watch over you at all? You know, something we'll never know for certain, I suppose, until we pass ourselves. And we'd like to think we'd be able to look over our loved ones who will miss us, etc. And animals the same, you know, and any of us who are animal lovers who've had pets, we know how devastating it is when you lose a pet. It is heartbreaking, isn't it? And, you know, that's happened to me, obviously, in my long life. It's happened quite a few times. And uh, uh, I have seen these pets. Oh God. Only two. There's two pets that I had that I would say I have seen in spirit. Like one was a cat angel. I literally saw her here in my living room, glowing white. She was a pure white cat. She was glowing white. It was as if she was showing me that she was okay. And another one was a little dog that I had, a little rescue dog. I'm going to show you a photo of her in a minute, called Bella. Now she was 4, well, round about 4. Nobody knows exactly how old she was because she was found literally on the streets. She had 4 puppies. She was found in the streets locally, and she was taken into a dog shelter. And the puppies were homed pretty quickly, as puppies are often homed quickly. And I ended up rescuing Bella. And it's when I bought this house, because I'd always said to my son, as soon as we move into a settled house, we'll get a dog. So, and off we went to the refuge, and I chose Bella. So she was around 4.5 there then, and we had her for many, many years. She was round. I mean, as I said, I don't know her exact age, but estimating what the vet thought she was when we adopted her and how long we had her, she lived till 20 years old. This dog. She lived a long, long time. And you know what? Bless her. In the end, I had to actually take her to be euthanized because she was blind, and she was falling off the sofa. I put a student of mine lent me like some little steps that you put up to the sofa, but she wouldn't go up or down them. She kept jumping over them, and then she fell and hurt her leg. And so I was worried about her all the time if I ever went out or I wasn't here, because you know she was, and I think she had a bit of dementia as well. Bless her. She used to just wander up and down, up and down, up and down in the house. You know, she'd go to the kitchen, come back out. You know, so she was an old dog, and in the end, I decided to have her put to sleep peacefully because I was too worried that something might happen to her. But the thing is, dogs, you know, I don't know, they'll go on forever if they can. They don't want to leave you. You know, they'll keep on going, and you know, we have to sometimes make that decision as to when's the right time, and that's the first time I'd ever had to do that, and it was the most horrible experience, as I'm sure a lot of you know. So anyway, but then I saw her. I literally saw her a couple of days later. You know, but thing is, you either believe it or you don't. I know what I saw. I was in the bathroom, and she walked past the bathroom door and went into the kitchen. She went. We've got like a downstairs bathroom, and it's sort of in the middle of the living room and the kitchen. And she went from the living room like she used to, walking up and down. I saw her go past the door and go into the kitchen. So I came out of the bathroom looking into the kitchen, expecting to see her, and she wasn't there. And that's the only time. That's the only time I've ever seen her. So just once, saw her walk past, just looked and thought, "Oh my God!" And then went into the kitchen, and she wasn't there. So it was an apparition. I don't know. Maybe it was her telling me she was okay. Then, so I've got a photo of her, and I just want to show you this, something that I noticed today. Some of you will have seen it because I put it up as a community post. But this is Bella, and you can see she was quite old there in that photo. That was not that long before she went, but she was still a pretty dog. She was just a little tiny dog, just so cute. And you know what she is? You know, I think it's because she'd lived on her own on the streets and had four puppies. She is the goodest dog I've ever had, even to this day. She was so well behaved. You know, you could take her anywhere. She wouldn't. The only thing she didn't like, at where she didn't like, and it sounds awful, but she didn't like old people with walking sticks. Once came out, and she'd got out, and she'd backed an old lady up, pressing her up against a car, barking at her. This old lady had a walking stick, and it just made me wonder if, when she was on the streets, if she was ever, you know, by, if anyone ever hit her with a walking stick or whatever, because she wasn't an aggressive dog, not with people, not with other dogs. She was as good as gold, except the only thing she did not like were old people wearing with walking sticks. So that's a photo of her. Then on the right hand side there, believe it or not, this is one of my bedside tables. You know, you've got a bedside table on either side. I'm not sure what wood it is, but it's very heavy wood. And I've had it for over 15 years now. And I've never noticed before. I don't know why. So I was, because I put it up against the door, um, to stop our big dog getting out. Because, you know, for those of you who watch my channel, you know we've got three dogs, a German Shepherd and two smaller dogs. And the German Shepherd just doesn't like the smaller dogs at all. That's my son's dog, and she just, she's just, she's so nice with people, but she's so horrible with other dogs. And so we have to keep them separate all the time. Otherwise, she would probably kill them, to be honest. So when she goes in her room, or they go in their room, so we have to let them out at different times. I always put the chest of drawers up against the door just to make sure there's no problems. And I've been doing that for years, ever since my son brought her to live here, which was about 5 years ago. And I have never noticed. Only yesterday, this just caught my eye. So this is the wood grain in the top of the chest of drawers. And as I was pushing it, I looked down at it and I thought, oh my God, that just looks like Bella. How weird is that? I mean, is it me or is it weird? I'm not imagining it. That's unusual, isn't it? And so that is the grain on the top of the chest of drawers. And it's the spit of the photo of Bella. So anyway, I like to think then that means she's looking down on us. She's looking over us. I don't know. Just to me, That could be a drawing. In fact, I did a drawing of her. I've got a drawing of her somewhere. I'm looking around. I have no idea where it is. I didn't draw it on the chest of drawers. So yeah, what do you think about that? Do you believe in these kind of things? And just one more thing that I just want to say about dogs in the spirit world or animals in general. Years ago, when my mum had she was very ill and she had a near to death experience. She was in intensive care. When she woke up, she did come through that. She said she'd had that experience of going in a tunnel and going towards the light. And she said there were animals in there as well. So we have to hope that our animals as well, our pets, and, that they go into who knows where we go. Maybe it's just a general stream of consciousness, of energy and into the universe. Who knows what it is? I don't know. I don't know the answers. All I know is my mum, she said that to me. She said she was in the tunnel and she was going towards the light, and that there were animals in there as well, dogs and cats. So, yeah, just an interesting thing. Just Sunday, we should talk about some spiritual things, really. But there you go. I think that's Bella, and it's the way she's. Yeah, pareidolia. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I thought that about pareidolia, and it is. And that is. And why have I not noticed it before? This is what surprised me. It's like maybe I just needed to see it. I don't know. In literally 15 years, I've had that chest of drawers, bedside table. I've got two, one on each side, but this is the one that I use. Why have I not noticed it before? It just looked like she was looking at me like she was trying to say something to me. But anyway, she's probably saying, "Can I have a treat?" That would be what she was saying. Bless her. Anyway, she was a beautiful dog, as they all are. Oh, another little bit of waffle. Yesterday, as we were coming back home, we saw a little dog in the bushes. We tried to get it. We couldn't get it. I hope it's okay. But anyway, yeah, lost dog. But it had a collar on. I mean, and then this guy came out to feed the cats because it's a place where there's a lot of cats. That's probably why the dog was hanging around there, because this old guy comes out and puts food down for the cats. And that's where the dog was. So I wonder if it was hanging around there because there was food. But there's a lot of campo and bushes and things like that. So anyway, it sort of peeked out. It came up, then it ran away. It was very nervous. We couldn't get it. I went back out then later and see if I could see it. There were a load of cats there, that's for sure. It's where all the stray cats hang around, and obviously this guy comes out and gives them food and water. So I don't know, maybe the dog didn't like the fact the cats were around. I don't know. But anyway, we didn't see it this morning when we went past. But I'll just look every time I go, and I put a Facebook post out about it, and I hope it gets reunited with its owner if it has one. So just a little white dog. Well, medium. It wasn't medium. It was sort of medium size. It was small, like my small dogs. But anyway, I hope it's okay. So let's just make sure you're all okay in chat before I start talking about this case. So have you heard about this case? Have you heard about this case of Lynette and Brian? What do you think? Because I sort of think is, if Brian didn't do it, I feel a bit sorry for him, because everybody's saying that he did do it, or thinking that he did do it, because admit your daughter kept seeing her dead cat. Nobody saw her, only my child. Yeah, because some people are a bit more, well, children are particularly insightful, aren't they, with things like that. When my son was young, I mean, he's forgotten now, but he had lots of strange experiences when he was a kid. But when you talk to him now, he poo-poos everything. They grow out of it then, don't they? That's the problem. Children are receptive to spirituality and things. And there's lots of experiences my son had when he was little. And now you try and mention it, it's just like, he's just typical doubting Thomas now when it comes to anything like that. But yeah. Oh, oh, Mark, your mum has a photo of your old dog in spirit guiding her older dog just before he passed away. Oh, oh bless. Yeah. um, okay, so let's have a look at this case. So I'm just going to read you the article for. Let's have a closer look at the couple. Oh, you know what they say? It's always someone close to them. Strange, isn't it? Lynette has disappeared, and then of course, I think it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, it's quite often that it happens that partners, not only men but women too, they push their partners off cliffs, take them for a hike up in a park, a national park. Next minute, oh, they're on the phone to 911 or to 999 or 112 or whatever. Oh, my wife's fallen off a cliff. Oh, shoot, I was taking a photo. That's not a common one, isn't it? Oh yeah, I was taking a photo and she just stumbled backwards. That happens so often. I mean, there more times than you probably even realize. And sometimes people do get held to account, don't they? But there has to be, it's a very difficult case to prove. So I just think with this case of Brian and Lynette, at the end of the day, there was only them on the boat. So, and Lynette's body has not been found yet. So the thing is, we haven't got any forensic report. Will it show that she had any bruising, or was she hit over the head, or was there any drugs in the system? All these kind of things. We don't know. Um, she's just gone, and he says she fell overboard. So, we don't know that she didn't. I mean, it's a shame in a way, because the thing is, because he's got a history of domestic abuse with this woman, that's why everybody's suspicious of him. But it could be that she did fall overboard, of course, because people do fall overboard, don't they? I mean, it's a difficult case, isn't it? It's a difficult case. So let's have a look what the BBC say about it. Just an article about it. Now, you know what they say is likely when people die mysteriously, it's likely to be someone close to them, isn't it? Quite often the partner, but not always. Sometimes the partner comes under suspicion because of statistics, because it normally is them. But in the end, it's not them. There was a case not long ago of a woman who disappeared, and everyone was accusing her husband. He said that he just woke up in the morning and she was gone, and nobody believed him. But in the end, CCTV was traced back. He said she had a history of depression, etc. CCTV was traced back and it showed her going towards the water alone. Nobody was with her, and that man was innocent. And she was found, she was deceased, and she'd taken her own life, basically. But her husband came under so much suspicion. I don't know if you saw anything about that case. It's not that long ago. It was a couple of months ago. So here's Lynette. This was her, it says here it's a Facebook photo. Lynette Hooker was on a sailing trip with her husband, who says she fell overboard a small boat. Now, I've got one thing. I mean, I'm not married, but if I was married, and especially if I was having problems with my husband, there's no way you'd get me on a small boat with him. Just me and him. No, thank you. You won't get probably because I watch a lot of true crime stuff and that, so I'm aware of these cases. Won't get me going for a hike in a national park either with him, or posing for a photo on the edge of a cliff. Not only with him, but not with anyone. You know, if someone says, "Oh, go and just stand there on the edge of that cliff and let me take a photo of you," aren't you going to be a bit suspicious? It's just like, no, thank you. You go and stand there. I'll take a photo of you, eh? So yeah, it was just the two of them on this small boat. So problem is, you know, if he has done it, which I'm not saying he has because I haven't got a bloody clue if he's done it or not. But if he has done it, how's it ever going to get solved? So, a US man arrested after his wife went missing on a trip to the Bahamas has been released. So, they did arrest him, but they've released him because they haven't got any evidence. They haven't even got her body, have they? He says he will continue searching for her. But he's back in the USA now, so he doesn't seem to be trying very hard to search for her. So he was released on Monday night from Bahamian police custody, where he faced questions from local officials after his wife Lynette Hooker disappeared while the pair was sailing. I won't be able to stop looking, he told CBS, the BBC's US partner. I didn't know CBS was the BBC's US partner, adding that he believes she was still alive. He says his wife fell off their small boat along with its keys, and was swept away by currents that left him unable to reach her. He has denied any suggestion of wrongdoing. The couple, who were travelling from Michigan, had been on a sailing trip on the evening of the 4th of April when Lynette Hooker went missing. The incident happened on an 8-foot hard-bottomed dinghy and not their much larger sailboat. So they've got a sailboat, but it happened on a dinghy. What were they doing on the dinghy? You know, maybe it's just me, but I don't like anything like that that feels unsafe. You know, little boats. I'm not a lover of boats, just generally. But I suppose if you've got a big substantial boat, you know, that you feel. But these little dinghies, would you even feel safe on it, even if you didn't have an abusive husband? Anyway, Brian. So here's Brian. Oh, there's a little video there. Maybe we'll see him talking. Brian Hooker was arrested on the 8th of April and questioned by the Bahamian police. And last week, the police said the search and rescue effort for Lynette Hooker had turned into a recovery mission. That's sad, isn't it? So yeah, initially they're probably hoping they might find her alive. You know, if she's a good swimmer or whatever. I presume the water was warm. I don't know. Anyway, here he is. Let's have a look at him and see what we think of him. So when he was asked, it's weird.
Brian, how are you doing right now?
Thank you all so much for your support,
Brian,
but I'm
please
sorry.
Please say you're still
No
being looked at
comment.
as a suspect. What do you say to that?
Do you believe that Lynette's still out there?
I want to. My goal is to go back and speak with the Hopetown Fire and Rescue volunteers, the search and rescue volunteers. They have been, I believe, still looking whenever they can, even while I have been detained by the Royal Bahamian Police Department.
You want to keep looking for Lynette?
I'm going to need somebody with more authority to tell me to stop.
Oh, you're going to cry now.
I think people want to hear from you directly if you believe that Lynette's still alive.
I do. I believe I've been told that people have lasted in the Bahamas after falling overboard for days and even weeks. There are so many islands. There are so many sandbars, little atolls and spits of land. Of course, you think about alternatives to that, but I'm not really capable of just turning away from this.
Did you hear it? Did the sound come out? I'm going to play it again in a minute. What do you think? Now, there were no tears. You know, at one point, he looked like he was going to cry. He took his glasses off, but there were no tears. There were no tears, were there? Yeah, Natalie Wood, she was a famous case, wasn't she, Marg? Very strange. Yeah, did she even go on that little boat? That's a good question. You know, maybe something happened to her before because they haven't found anything. And so it was her and the keys. Let's have a look at him again. At first I was sort of thinking, oh, you know, maybe he's genuine. And then as soon as he took his glasses off and started pretending to get upset, but there are no tears. So don't forget, this is his wife. No tears, no visible distress. So those are always the things that seem suspicious to me. But we don't know.
Brian, how are you doing right now?
Thank you all so much for your support,
Right,
but I'm
police
sorry.
Police say you're still
No
being looked at
comment.
as a suspect. What do you say to that?
I just want to say he's a big
Do you
guy.
believe that Lynette's still out there?
You could see next to his lawyer
I
that
want
he's
to.
actually,
My goal
he's quite a big guy, isn't he? You know, not just that he'd find it easy to push someone in or to overpower a woman.
is to go back and speak with the Hopetown Fire and Rescue volunteers, the search and rescue volunteers. They have been, I believe, still looking whenever they can, but even while I have been detained by the Royal Bahamian Police Department.
You want to keep looking for Lynette.
I'm going to need somebody with more authority to tell me to stop.
There we go. Where's
I
the
think people want to hear from you directly if you believe that Lynette's still alive.
I do. I believe I've been told that people have lasted in the Bahamas after falling overboard for days and even weeks. There are so many islands. There are so many sandbars, little atolls and spits of land. Of course, you think about alternatives to that, but I'm not really capable of just turning away from this.
Well, there you go. So what do we think? You know, so he's been released. He's been released, no charge. And he says he's going to keep on. So why has he left the Bahamas? Now, that's another thing that to me is just strange, because if your wife's gone missing, you know, your partner, your loved one, even your dog, would you then? So as soon as he was released from custody, he was back in America. Why is he not still there helping, you know, waiting for her to be found? Do you know what I mean? What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, I think he comes over as being suspicious, but you know, what can I say? Exactly. No evidence, admit. No evidence whatsoever. So is he going to get away with it? Now, the thing is, I think his daughter had something to say. Just let me have a little investigate. As I say, I've been watching this case going on, but I haven't done any real deep diving into it yet. Because I thought he was going to get charged. When they arrested him in the Bahamas, I mean, that's quite strange in itself, isn't it, really? Why did they arrest him? Why did they arrest him? You know, they must have had a reason to arrest him. Let's have a look at what did her daughter have to say. Let's have a look at this. So yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna do a deeper dive on it. We'll just get the nuts and bolts of the case here. So this is NBC News. So this is the BBC said this is the just got to wait for the video to load up. It's taking a little while.
For the first time since her mother, Lynette Hooker, went missing in the Bahamas. Brian called home before Lynette disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago.
Now you have no idea where she is. Yeah, I never imagined my
Oh,
mom.
so it's her stepfather. Now, see how upset she was? That's sort of what you'd expect, really, isn't it? Someone to be really upset that their loved one has gone overboard and is probably deceased.
Would disappear.
In a Dateline exclusive, Aylesworth emotional in her desperate search for answers.
I'm still trying to grapple with the fact that she's just not here right now.
Bahamian police say Brian Hooker told them Lynette went overboard in their dinghy while in rough waters.
Finally leaving Kima.
Aylesworth says the couple's relationship was volatile, and she expressed suspicions of Brian since before he was arrested and questioned.
Part of me feel like he's going to get away with this and walk away a free man, and I really hope that doesn't happen.
Police released Brian Hooker Monday after 5 days in custody. He has not been charged with any wrongdoing and denies having anything to do with Lynette's disappearance, telling us he plans to keep searching for his wife.
I don't think I've ever been apart from her in 25 years for this long.
But he left the country the next day.
I just think about
Carly Aylesworth
Yeah.
says she won't get closure until her mom is found.
I've never been apart from her in 25 years. I'm going to keep on looking for her. And then the very next day he was gone. Come on. Let's watch that again from the beginning.
The first time since her mother, Lynette Hooker, went missing in the Bahamas, Carly Aylesworth is now seeing the boat her mother and stepfather Brian called home before Lynette disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago.
now where she is. Yeah, I never imagined my mom would disappear.
In a Dateline exclusive, Aylesworth emotional in her desperate search for answers.
I'm still trying to grapple with the fact that she's just not here right now.
Bahamian police say Brian Hooker told them Lynette went overboard in their dinghy while in rough waters.
Finally leaving Kima.
Aylesworth says the couple's relationship was volatile, and she expressed suspicions of Brian since before he was arrested and questioned.
Part of me feel like he's going to get away with this and walk away a free man, and I really hope that doesn't happen.
Police released Brian Hooker Monday after 5 days in custody. He has not been charged with any wrongdoing and denies having anything to do with Lynette's disappearance, telling us he plans to keep searching for his...
A couple of times there as well, he seemed to have like almost a faint smile on his face. It's like that duping delight, isn't it? He was smiling because he's been released and, you know, but it's inappropriate. Yeah, don't get a good feeling from this man, but do you know what? Don't know if it will ever come to anything. not unless and until Lynette's body is found. Now, her body, if her body does get found, that might give up some clues. But where is her body?
His wife.
I don't think I've ever been apart from her in 25 years for this long.
But he left the country the next day.
I just think about
Carly Aylesworth says she won't get closure until her mom is found.
She was a great person and she didn't deserve this.
Brian Hooker's attorney says she can't comment when Brian might return to the Bahamas to continue his search for Lynette. Meanwhile, the Bahamian military says search and recovery efforts continue.
Yeah. So, I mean, he can't confirm when he's, his lawyer can't confirm when he's going to go back. Why has he even left? They're looking for his wife. Why has he left? You know, if that was my husband who'd fallen off and why were they on that funny little dinghy when they've got a great big boat? You know, why are they on little dinghy in rough weather? It does stink, doesn't it? It stinks. And now, of course, we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. It hasn't been proven. Nothing's been proven. But you can see why people are thinking there's something strange in this, and especially poor Lynette's daughter. So Lynette, he said they'd been together for 25 years. So she must have been very young when he first got to, you know, Lynette and Brian first got together. If he's her stepfather, she said, didn't they? Said, and she said they had a volatile relationship. You know, so had she asked for a divorce? This is what normally happens, isn't it? It's when somebody asks for a divorce and the other person either doesn't want them to leave or they don't want to pay them anything. The other time, of course, it tends to happen is had he met somebody else? That'd be interesting. Because if the police, I'm even though he's been released from the Bahamas, I would hope and imagine he's still under investigation. Because what if the police found out that he was, you know, he had another woman or something like that? Maybe he was trying to get rid of Lynette. Because I've seen that happen several times in true crimes that I've looked into. You know, that's quite often the reason. Oh, you know, let's try and make our marriage better. Oh, I booked us this trip to a national park. Believe me, I tell you, any of you ladies out there, if you're having problems with your husband and he suggests a trip to a national park to try and reignite your relationship, you know, let's have a nice weekend away up in the mountains. Don't go. Please don't go, because that happens so often. You know, time will tell, I suppose. What I mean, will they have taken his phone for him to see messages? Will they have her phone? What, you know, Lily's saying he left to see his mum because she's sick. Is that what they're reporting? Let's see. Let me see if I can get that up there. It's possible things happen, don't they? So. Well, according to AI, it says, based on April 2026 news reports, Brian Hooker returned to the USA from the Bahamas to de-stress following the traumatic experience of his wife Lynette disappearing and his subsequent detention. According to reports by the BBC and Care 11, And then his lawyer said he needed to be at his mother's bedside, citing she is ill, and that he was heartbroken after being unable to continue searching for his wife. Now, there's a couple of things wrong with that. If his mother was sick, why did he even go to the Bahamas in the first place? Because if your mum is ill and you think you might have to be called back at any minute, when he says she's sick, what, has she got a cold? Has she got cancer? Is she very seriously ill? But anyway, apparently his lawyer also noted he was completely heartbroken and distressed and needed time to de-stress from this horrible experience after being detained, which hindered his ability to search for his wife. But there was a previous incident, apparently in 2015. There was a domestic situation between the couple. Anyway, the search is continuing. Search is continuing, but it is now a recovery search. What do they call it? What's the difference when it seems like they feel like she is deceased? I'm sorry, I'm just looking at another article as well. I think this is more or less. I just want to show this actually because I'm obsessed now with this dinghy. I can't imagine why were they on at this little dinghy. So this is the Sun newspaper. Why were they on this little dinghy in bad weather? It should come up in a minute. Oh, come on. Oh, it's not showing for some reason. I think I've read. I think I might have frozen. Don't know why. Oh, there you go. Finally. I need to put some windows down. I've got too many windows open. That's probably why it's going extra slow. Always goes slow, this computer, but see if we can make it go any quicker. Sorry, I'm just putting all these. Dinghy going from land back to their yacht. They said it was bad weather. Why were they going? If it was bad weather, what were they doing on a little dinghy? You know, I don't know anything about sailing, but one thing I do know is if the weather's bad, you just go to the pub instead, don't you? I'd much rather go anyway. Look at the size of that dinghy. Sorry, I've still got too many windows open. I swear windows are just opening even though I'm not opening them. Yeah. Why, what were they doing? If the weather was bad, what were they doing on that dinghy? And how did she fall off it? How would you fall off that without it capsizing? And then if it capsized, well, you think he would have fallen in. How is she fallen in off that dinghy? Surely she'd be just sat there. The weather was bad. She's not going to be standing up. It's not as if you're going to be standing up doing the sails or anything like that. Why would she have even fallen off it? Anyway, yeah, it just seems strange to me, but we don't know. We do not know. So it's an 8-foot hard-bottom dinghy en route to Elbow Cay in the Bahamas. So, and he was released, and then he returned to the US a day later, vowing in a TV interview he wouldn't give up trying to find his wife. So Brian's story is that Brian and Lynette were out on the water on April the 4th, heading to their yacht off Elbow Cay in the Abaco Islands, when she allegedly fell from their 8-foot dinghy in rough conditions. This is what I mean. Why would you go out to your boat if it was rough conditions anyway? So Brian claims that the boat keys went overboard with Lynette, cutting the engine and leaving him to paddle for hours back to shore. What? She reportedly fell around 7:30 p.m. So, okay, let's picture this. So it's 7:30 p.m. The weather's bad, and you decide to get in your dinghy and go out to your ship. Oh, and then he was unable to report her missing until 4 a.m. on April the 5th, after spending roughly 7 hours battling strong currents to reach the boatyard. It's very fishy, isn't it? Don't you think? Yeah, and they should have been wearing life jackets. Yeah, of course they should, actually. So, yeah, that's funny as well, isn't it? So it's 7 hours before he could report her missing. Very convenient about the key and about... I just don't believe for a minute at 7:30 in the evening, with under... difficult weather conditions, you decide to get into a dinghy and sail out to your ship, to your yacht or whatever it is. Would you? And then, funnily enough, 7 hours it took before he could report her missing. That's convenient as well, isn't it? 7 hours. She's not, even then she's probably not likely to be alive, is she? Yeah, it does feel, you can see why people are suspicious. And she may not have even gone into the water. He could have done something with her somewhere else, and her body could be somewhere else altogether. So we don't know, do we? So he has faced intense scrutiny since his wife vanished and was brought in for questioning in the Bahamas, but police ran out of time to charge him and eventually let him go. And he said he was going to stay in the Caribbean and help search for his wife, who's 56. But a day later, he darted back to the US, and his lawyer claimed he needed to be at his sick mother's bedside and planned to return. In 2015, police were called to the couple's house due to a reported domestic situation, as Brian accused his wife of striking him in the face. I mean, that's a typical thing that domestic abusers do. They phone the police first, don't they, and accuse the other person of doing it. So Lynette alleged at the time that he had choked her and punched her in the forehead, but the pair, who were both intoxicated, refused medical help and charges were later dropped. And since Lynette's disappearance, her daughter, Carly Aylesworth, from another relationship, alleged her mother had previously confided that Brian had choked her. And this is starting to remind me even more of the Natalie Wood case, because there was alcohol involved there, wasn't there? I mean, the thing is, if they've got a history of a volatile relationship, it feels to me that maybe something happened. And all this about the dinghy is a way of covering up. Will they find Lynette's body? Well, I think hopefully they find her body one way or another, because I think that will give more insight, won't it, to what actually really happened. And she claimed that in January 2024, Lynette also told her that Brian had threatened to throw her off their boat during an argument. Now, as much as I don't like to victim blame, but I suppose that in relationships like this, Just to me, he'd only have to threaten to throw me off the boat once. Do you know? I mean, I won't be getting on that boat with him again. Imagine how scary that would be. I would be terrified if I was stuck on a little boat with someone, and we started having an argument, and then they threatened to throw me off it. I won't be going back on it again. But I don't know, Lynette. Probably he was full of apologies afterwards, and oh no, I love you, I'd never do anything like that to you. We've heard it all before, haven't we? And yeah, seems like they had a bit of a love-hate relationship. Anyway, Carly told the US Sun she's not spoken to him since her mum vanished, and she said in interviews they had a history of not getting along, especially when they were intoxicated. Meanwhile, Brian was previously charged with child abuse. Oh my God. After his ex-partner, Elizabeth Joseph, claimed he assaulted their daughter, according to the New York Post. Court documents allege he held the girl up by her neck and left her with marks after he argued with her mother about how she was being homeschooled. The child, whose age was not disclosed in filings, was staying over at her dad and Lynette's house when Brian allegedly became angry that she was being taught about God. And Lynette testified at the time her husband had not choked his daughter. So Lynette sounds like Lynette stuck up for him, didn't she? Stuck up for him. This sadly is what a lot of domestic abuse victims do. She stuck up for him in this particular case of him assaulting his daughter. Oh, so sad, so sad. And through his attorney, so Lynette testified at the time her husband hadn't choked his daughter, and the case was eventually dismissed in February 2006. And through his attorney, Terrell Butler, Brian has categorically and unequivocally, I can't even say that word, unequivocally denied all allegations of wrongdoing and abuse. And when asked about possible abuse within their relationship, Brian also said he told police, "I would never harm Lynette." So this is the route taken, apparently. Where are we? So, Elbow Cay, the yacht stopped here. They got on. Oh, Brian and Lynette leave after drinks. So we're supposed to believe that at 7:30 in the evening, after they'd been drinking in bad weather conditions, they decided to get on the little dinghy. Is that what we're supposed to believe? And then she fell overboard around here, according to him. And then he made his way over here to Marsh Harbour. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning before he got there. Yeah, it does seem suspicious, doesn't it? But we've just got to wait and see what happens. Surely he's still being investigated. So experts told the US Sun authorities would not necessarily need a body to charge her husband if they believe he's guilty of a crime, but they would need more evidence and to prove probable cause. It's more than a simple hunch or suspicion, but less than the beyond a reasonable doubt evidence needed for a conviction. So criminal defense attorney John W. Day said right now, based on public information, it's unclear whether authorities have enough to even get past the probable cause stage. And without evidence, rather than accident or voluntary disappearance, charging someone would be premature and risky. I hope they're checking all his phone messages and this, that, and the other. And his attorney said that authorities have no evidence against him. Oh yeah, it says police seized digital devices, including cell phone related equipment. as part of their investigation. Brian said he had his phone with him when she went overboard, but it only worked with Wi-Fi and was unable to make cellular calls. Forensic evidence can take anywhere from a few weeks to over a year to process. And the physical act of imaging a phone, copying the data, can be done in a few hours. The actual investigation is often a lengthy, multi-stage process. Yeah. So, although he has freedom to move around and of course he's allowed to return, just seems strange to me that he did, but of course we don't know how ill his mother is. Maybe there is a genuine reason why he went back. And he's claiming he wants to return to the Bahamas. In my experience, and I have had a lot of experience of true crime, from watching videos, from doing my own videos. In my experience, when someone doesn't bother helping in the search, they know what's happened to the person. Because people who are frantic to discover what's happened to their loved ones, they help in the search. They certainly don't just bugger off a day later after they've been released, whether their mum's ill or not. I mean, this is his wife of 25 years. And I'm sorry his mum's ill, and I could understand it. I don't know how ill she is, but, isn't there anybody else there at her bedside? This is his wife of 25 years. So, I don't know. Well, there they are. Lynette probably loves him or loved him. I don't know if she's present tense or past tense. But it all seems a bit odd to me, to be honest. Oh dear, straight away, I just don't like this man, but I shouldn't take instant dislikes to people. So we'll see what happens. I'll follow this case. I'll let you know if there's been any developments. Of course, let me know what you think. We'll come back to this case. I've got to go now, unfortunately, so I can't go into it anymore. But I'm glad that I went into it. It's interesting, intriguing. Let me know what you think. As always, was Lynette pushed? Or did she fall? Or was she even ever on that dinghy? I'm wondering, you think, just seems odd to me that at 7:30 in the evening after drinking, you would decide in bad weather to get in a tiny little dinghy like that and go to your yacht or whatever. Did that ever even happen? I wonder, But of course, any developments, I will let you know. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, on the subscribe button. It's important to like, subscribe, and share because we want awareness for this case as well. And that's completely free. So I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Thank you. Bye.